Yo, what's good? Y'all, your boy Jay back at it again, and today we got 4 spooky true Home Alone horror stories animated. Y'all know what the deal is, man. Follow me on both my channels. And without further ado, let's get right into it.
I was 16 years old when this happened. By then, I'd come to enjoy being home alone. Not to sneak friends over though. I just liked being able to make myself dinner, play whatever I wanted on the TV, and go to bed whenever I felt like it. One night, however, I wasn't truly alone. From sunset to midnight, my routine was the same. When I felt tired, I crawled into bed, then fell asleep without ever noticing anything out of the ordinary. Not until I was dreaming. At least, I thought I was in a dream when I first heard it.
Nigga in a genjutsu?
The sound of someone praying. It was muffled, yet a constant, uninterrupted prayer.
See, bro, I hear somebody crying outside this late. Nah, I ain't gonna answer, bro. That's all you, big bro. I'm not answering none of that, bro. I ain't charity. I'm not giving helping hands out to people. I don't know. We chilling, bro.
A man's voice, raspy, and for some reason, desperate. After listening to it for who knows how long, I finally realized it wasn't a dream. The sound suddenly ripped me out of my sleep like a screeching alarm clock, leaving me with a burning question. Who the hell
I ain't gonna lie, this animation kind of smooth, though.
House was praying. We weren't religious. We certainly didn't practice at home. And most importantly, I was supposed to be alone. Once I was fully awake, I located the source of the sound. It was right outside my window.
Yeah, you gotta grab a knife. Grab that knife real quick.
A chill shot through my body and lingered, every hair on my body standing on end. I slowly rose out of bed, then crept over to my window and pulled back the curtain the slightest bit. Outside in the backyard, there was a man hunched over on his knees, clutching a Bible and praying.
Bro, that nigga butt-ass naked?
His face pointed to the ground. The worst part about him...
Nigga, I don't wanna see that shit. Why nigga in his drawers, bro? Why the nigga in his drawers?
The fact he was almost naked, wearing nothing but a pair of briefs. He was older, a bit fat, and his hairy white skin sagged. Honestly,
nigga like a big ass dirty sack of potatoes in this bit, boy. What the fuck?
I didn't know what the right move was, but I couldn't stand to let him stay there. My hands were shaking as I reached.
I'm calling the cops, boy. I'm calling the cops. 911. This old 50-plus-year-old white man is in his drawers, on his hands and knees, with a Bible in his hand at this address. I'm gonna need y'all to come over.
Up and tapped the window, then asked him to leave as kindly as I could. He fell silent and looked up, staring with crazed, thoughtless eyes. He stared at me for an eternal moment before looking back down and returning to his prayer. Suddenly, I pounded on the window and shouted at him as loud as I could to get away from my house. I was hoping to scare him off, but it seemed to only work halfway. As he stood rather calmly, then walked around the corner where I couldn't see him.
Bro, this nigga ain't got no like boxers, bro. This nigga got on them tidy whities, boy. This nigga on tidy white. Why, bro? You couldn't put no pants on? You couldn't put no shorts on, nigga? Nobody want to see your print, bro.
Feeling quite shaken up, I threw a blanket over my shoulders and walked out to the kitchen for a glass of water. As I tried to sit with trembling hands, I had a strong suspicion that this wasn't over. The crazy praying man was probably around. I stood looking out the kitchen window, waiting for a sign of him. A few minutes later, someone walked into view. This time, it was another man, and believe it or not, he was wearing a full priest's outfit with a Bible of his own in hand. This guy looked sharp and proper compared to the other one, but the fact that he was there at all was just as plain wrong.
Yeah, you must got demons or some shit in your house, boy. You got a regular man praying to God with a Bible in his hand. You got this nigga with his whole Bible. He fitted up, boy. You must got some exorcism going on in your shit.
If he really was a priest, stood just a few feet from the window and asked a simple question. May I have a word of prayer with you at your front door, my friend? I replied with a firm no, then I dropped the blinds right in front of his face and left the kitchen. From there, I sat down on the couch, clenching my jaw in disbelief. What kind of priest shows up at someone's house in the middle of the night? Why me? Then, not even a minute later, there was a knock at the door.
You better get your knife, bro. I'm grabbing a knife, boy. I hear a knock on the door. With all this shit, I'm grabbing a knife, bro. I would have been called cops, boy. I would have been called 911, boy. And if not that, I got a knife, bro. I got some young boy playing in the background. I'm ready to fuck somebody up, boy. I'm blasting some music, boy.
I already knew who it was, but it felt pointless trying to ignore him as he already knew I was there. I got up and looked through the peephole, and sure enough, the priest was at the back door, but now he had company. The nearly naked man who was praying in the backyard had joined him and was pacing back and forth.
I'm not opening that door, gang.
I shouted at them both to go away. The priest just cupped his hand to his ear and said he couldn't hear me. I was at my wit's end. I went to the window next to the door and opened it just a few inches.
No, you gotta ignore them niggas, bro. You gotta ignore them, bro. If I tell him, yo, I ain't trying to do that right now, he at the door, I'ma just ignore that nigga, bro. I'ma call 911 on your ass.
Then I bent down and screamed at them to leave. Instead of listening, the priest gave me a pitiful frown and a sob story. "Hey man, we just want to pray," he said. He gestured toward the other man and continued. "My friend here has terrible OCD. The only thing that helps him when he gets like this is to pray with a stranger. So we'd like it if we could just come in for a short prayer. Then we'll leave."
Shit, y'all can pray through the window right quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, pray through that window. I'm not letting this nigga in my house, bro. I don't know him, bro. Old butt-ass nigga. I'm not letting you in my house. I ain't letting you in the crib. You was butt-ass naked. Your ass probably dirty. Covered in grass and shit.
Of course I didn't believe him, especially when I looked over to this friend of his. The freak had stopped pacing and was staring dead at me once again, breathing so heavily I could see his chest rising and falling. I didn't know what was going through his head, except that I didn't want it in my house, so I said I was sorry, then reached to close the window. As soon as I moved, the priest lunged and shoved his hand through the gap. He grabbed the window and tried to pull it open, but I put my whole body into slamming it down.
Yeah.
I crushed his hand twice before he finally yanked it back in pain.
Yeah.
Then I shut the window and locked it. Finally, I looked outside and said I was calling the police. I did so right away. By the time I was on the phone with the operator and looked back outside, however, the two men were gone. When the cops arrived, they didn't find any trace of them either. They seemed perplexed by my description of the two men, but told me about a break-in that had occurred the other night. I don't think those men were out to rob me, though. I think they had something much worse in mind. Either way, I decided not to tell my parents about what happened.
Yeah, that's that weird shit. I'm not opening the door for that shit. Y'all telling me y'all just trying to be all servants? Why don't y'all do this shit why don't y'all do this shit on a Sunday? Or do it like on a Saturday where most niggas is at the crib chilling? Why y'all doing this late at night, my nigga?
Looking back, that was a dumb decision. But I didn't want them to strip away my freedom to be home alone, even though I was constantly afraid those weirdos would come back. After my sister went off to college, I thought I was lucky to have the house.
Yo, was that Harry Potter?
I might have been a bit too old to still be living at home, but it would be stupid to say no to free rent and groceries. Anyways, I wasn't too big on parties, so one night I had my girlfriend over to chill for a while. Mom was out of town for a conference and had mentioned that my sister would be coming home soon, but she hadn't told me when. Because of that, I figured I would have privacy. My girlfriend left pretty early. Her roommate was having a meltdown or something and needed help. I offered to help her out, but she told me she could take care of it and left around 10. It was just me, and I was a bit buzzed from the 3 beers I had put back. I put on a movie and sank into the couch. In the process, I had another 2 beers and was starting to actually feel it.
Damn, nigga, y'all booze loving ass.
A few hours later, something scraped against the patio near the front door. I sat up a bit, too out of it to pay
that nigga sat in his chair real quick. That nigga sat up in his chair immediately.
Much attention. The doorknob jiggled, then clicked, and the door swung open. I immediately relaxed. The door was locked, so only a family member could get in. I called out, thinking it was Mom, but whoever it was didn't respond. With a grunt and more,
grab that strap, boy. Nigga, I don't give a fuck if it is Mom. If I see the door open late at night and I don't hear like the voice of my mom or pops, nigga, I'm gonna be posted up like Song Jin Woo in that one phone. I'm gonna be that bit, like, bro, I'm getting that nigga up out of there, boy. What you talking about? That nigga gone, bro. Hell no.
More effort than I was hoping to put in. I turned to find the figure at the door. It was pretty dark, so I couldn't get a good look at them, but it was a woman, much thinner than Mom. Her hair was longer too, and she dragged something behind her.
Got a dead body in the
I
hole.
realized it must have been my sister. Before I could say hello, she lumbered up the stairs. The bag she dragged thudding against each step.
Bro, if you don't ask a question and be like, yo, who is this? Your sister would have said something. Your mom would have said something, bro.
At that point, I could barely keep my eyes open, so I decided to meet my sister in the morning and
Yeah, to be fair, this nigga is plastered. Like, this nigga done. Like, I don't even think even if he did try to do something, he can't do nothing. That nigga,
crash on the couch.
his ass on 2 HP.
I didn't sleep for long. A bit past midnight, I heard banging in the kitchen, like someone was rummaging through all the cabinets and chucking whatever they didn't like to the floor.
See, now you let her in the kid. Now she can get a weapon, boy. Your ass.
What's up? I saw my phone lit up with a message. I picked it up and saw a text message from my mom. She was asking me if I could pick up my sister at the train station the next morning. I shot a text back, telling her my sister was already there. The noises continued in the kitchen. When I got a reply, it made a loud ding, and the kitchen went silent. Mom had messaged me that my sister had just updated her from a hotel 50 miles from me. I panicked, knowing that the person in the kitchen was a complete stranger.
Yeah, you dumb as fuck for letting a person in your crib, not checking them. Nigga, you don't even know this nigga.
Approached me, dragging on the hard wood and squeaking. I jumped off and faced the kitchen. The person rounded the corner into the living room.
Bro, this old bitch, you just wanted food? Damn, y'all, I don't even think she got a knife. I don't see no knife, bro. You was that hungry, you broke into my house to eat, my nigga? You broke into my house to eat food, nigga? Like, bro, I could have gave you a Hershey's, nigga. I could have gave you some Canes, nigga. You left over right quick.
The only light came from the TV. Her face was lit up a ghost-like blue. She was disgustingly thin with sunken eyes and missing patches of
Yeah, that's
hair.
easy light work. She ain't got no strength. Her physical stats is on 0, my nigga.
She had a container filled with forgotten leftover soup that she shoveled into her mouth with her bare hands. I sprinted to the hallway and heard her slowly trailing behind. I locked myself in the bathroom and backed against the far
Bro,
wall.
you don't knock her ass out. You don't knock her frail ass, bro. The moment I saw her, bro, she's standing. I would have dropped I would have done my power scaling research. And I would have been there and be like, okay, her stats, none. You know what I'm saying? She weak, she frail, she probably ain't got no strength. Bro, I would have dropped my shoulder. Nigga, knock that ass. Bro, I would have done that shit. Boy, that ass would have been on the floor, boy. I at least would have been like, yo, who are you? And the moment she don't get a response, I'm pushing her ass out, shit. You're not just gonna come into my house with your dirty ass feet. Step on the floors I just mopped.
I could see her dirty feet through the gap between the door and the floor. It was quiet for a bit. I could only hear my own breath. Then she started giggling. For nearly a minute, she giggled to herself.
I know this nigga got 5 beers in him. This nigga may have thought it was actually a ghost. Nigga thought he saw Casper start tweaking, boy.
Laughter turned to tears. She was pressed against the door, sobbing and banging her head against the wood. I texted Mom that there was someone dangerous in the house, then called the...
I don't know about dangerous. Someone's in the house, but like, she looks starving. She's probably, you know what I'm saying, shorter than you, so she's not really a threat. Like, if you have even basic combat, you should beat her in a fight, unless you got like a gun or some shit.
police. While I waited in the darkness, she started whispering nonsense through the crack in the door. Finally, I heard sirens from outside, and the woman took off down the hall.
My work is easy because
Nigga like me would've. The moment I saw her run down the stairs, I would've flew down the steps. Nigga, I would've, nigga, drop kick your shit, boy. Oh, shit. Yo, let me not, y'all. Let me chill,
After
bro.
an
She ain't even do nothing. She just dead ass broke into. I don't know what the bag is in. I don't know what the bag is. I don't even know what that shit is, bro. It might have been like stolen groceries because she was hungry, but she dead ass went to your house, ate food, and just dipped.
The cops knocked on the bathroom door and told me it was okay to come out again. A few days later, I was told by the police that the woman was homeless and mentally ill after
Yeah, I knew she was like, I knew like, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought something like that. I don't know how she picked the lock, but yeah, man, I was like, yeah, she gotta be homeless or some shit. Like, not like, you know what I'm saying? Something going on. Cause if she really was like a real like threat, she would have tried to stab you or steal money, nigga. She just stole food. I don't even know if she took some.
years of drug abuse. They had found her and put her in an institution. Since then, I haven't had a single good night of sleep. Now, every time I hear someone come through the front door, I grab onto one of the many weapons I've hidden around the house and clutch it to my chest.
Good shit.
Until I know for a fact there's someone I can trust. When I was 18,
God damn, big money.
I lived with my dad on a massive property completely isolated from civilization. It wasn't a full-on farm, but we had some cows, chickens, and sheep. Dad was always big on shooting. There wasn't much else to do out there, so he owned at least 10 guns.
Nigga, is your dad Batman?
I like guns. I always imagined something going wrong, like a misfire or freak accident. Dad would try to get me out on the range, but I was more of an inside person, so eventually he left me alone when he went shooting. There were a few times Dad had to shoot at people
Your dad trying to get you right, boy.
or animals that snuck into our property. One time, a bear made its way through the fence and into our yard, and Dad put a bullet through its skull. I couldn't stand the sight of the carcass, but Dad still made me help clean it up. Another time, some drunk guys were trashing our field, so Dad fired a few warning shots over their heads. That got them running quickly. It was generally pretty safe
Your dad got some Yassop level aim. God damn.
out there. Other than the winter night I had to fire a gun for the first time. That night, Dad was out at a bar with friends, and I was watching TV at home. I had the windows closed.
Well, if I'm by myself in a house that big, bro, I'm turning on some music, bro. I'm getting lit, bro. I'm getting lit in a bit, boy. Oh, bro, you get an ox. Oh, that shit. Oh yeah, it's done, bro. Bro, I'm getting hyped.
And the heater blasting while I cuddled up under a blanket on the couch. After a few movies, my eyes started to get heavy. But before I fell asleep, I got a notification from my phone that someone was at the door. We had one of those Ring doorbells, the ones that take a video feed.
If I don't know who that nigga is, you not getting an answer, gang.
Outside. I obviously figured it was Dad. Who else would be out in the cold as late as it was? I waited a while for him to come in, but the door never opened. My phone had a video feed from the doorbell, so I took it out and checked, just in case Dad was out there and needed help for some reason. The video feed was mostly dark.
Nigga, is this a fucking samurai? Why the fuck? What the fuck is this nigga doing, bro? Nigga, ninja, bro. What the fuck?
A few snowflakes covered the camera, but I could make out a figure standing in the shadows.
Hell
maybe
nah.
15 feet from the door on the walkway.
Oh, hell, that's a giga nigga, bro. What the fuck? I thought his ass was skinny.
Figure standing in the shadows.
I thought he was skinny. He looked frail right here. He looked like a regular
From the
dude.
door on the walkway.
Wow, he become this big, swole, Drago body ass nigga. What the? Look at this, bro. This slutty ass way, bro. That nigga big as shit. Yo, that nigga built like a damn Baki character, bro. Hell no.
They were dressed way too lightly for the snow, and I couldn't make out their face at
Oh,
all.
like that nigga swole, bro. That nigga, oh no, that's a giga nigga, bro. He look damn near the size of the. Oh, that's a super nigga, bro. That's a damn Mortal Kombat character, bro. I'm good, bro. You nah, hell nah.
It didn't look like Dad. The person was too tall
No, that's not. I don't know. That look like a Dandadan character. Why the nigga arm so long, bro? That nigga, that's an anime character, bro. What the fuck?
to be him. For a minute, the guy just stood there, just as I was about to.
It's not a fucking guy. That's a demon spirit, nigga. Why nigga, who the fuck stands like this? You know you know how to edit?
My phone down. The man wandered off and out of view. By that point, I was wide awake. I prayed he was leaving and got off the couch, too terrified to make any noise.
Better grab the strap. Told you all you should be getting your reps in, my nigga. Should have been got your reps in, bro.
When I started to relax, there was something scratching against the window in the kitchen. Something felt really wrong, so I raced to the windows and doors near me and made sure they were all locked. The only ones left were in the kitchen, and I couldn't bring myself to go there. The scratching stopped, and I peeked into the kitchen to find the little grooves carved into the outside of the window. Then, something started to pound on the side of the house. Something started to pound on the side of the house. The paintings on the walls shook with the bang. I felt close to hyperventilating, but I was composed enough to run upstairs to find one of Dad's guns.
Good shit.
Dad had a safe in his room with a shotgun, so I entered the password and loaded up 3 shells, hoping I was doing it right. The banging on the side of the house stopped, but then one of the upstairs windows near my room shattered. I cocked the shotgun and ran to the source. It might have been a bad decision, but the adrenaline and the weapon did the thing.
Yeah, you better call. You better. You gonna shoot. I'm gonna blast a hole through that nigga.
For me. I pointed the barrel at the window, but there was nothing there, and I got close enough to peer out into the snow. I saw one of our chickens dead on the ground. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw that same man from the camera crouching in the snow, licking his hand. Without hesitation, I pointed the gun in his direction and fired, though I missed him by a lot.
They told your ass you be getting your fucking rep soon, bro.
After the shot, he sprinted off into the darkness, and I was alone. I called my dad.
Ain't no fucking demon gonna pull up to my crib, nigga. We run them ones, nigga.
He got home 10 minutes later. Dad didn't want to get the police involved. He never trusted cops, and moved out a few months later and never looked back. I'm still not sure who that guy was or what he wanted, but I'm glad I was able to scare him off. It freaks me out just
Hey, good shit using the gun though. Good shit using the, like, see, these niggas, I think everyone in this story besides the second guy has made pretty damn decent decisions like when the intruder came in. And the second guy was lucky that was some homeless woman who just wants some soup and not a fucking demon spirit like this nigga dealt with, bro.
Imagining what he might have done with me. I live in a 2-bedroom apartment on the 2nd floor. Usually my roommate is home, though she sometimes stays over at one of her guy friends' places. Recently, on a night she was out, I was smoking a cigarette on her screened-in porch. There's a solid wall around the porch a little over waist height, so while I was getting down, I couldn't see the ground outside. However, this changed when I stood up to go inside. As I closed the sliding glass door, I looked back out of habit. About 50 feet away.
Oh, hell no. That nigga, nah, bro. That's a ghost. I might make that the thumbnail.
A man was standing in the parking lot, looking directly up at my apartment.
Nah, bro. See. Nuh-uh, bro. Get your ghoulish looking ass on, boy. I'm about to get your nasty, greasy hair, mop head ass on, boy.
Actually, I recognized him. He lived in the complex. For the most part, he was normal looking. Mid-20s, straight black hair just above his shoulders, generic outfit, but it was the way he acted. He was always wandering aimlessly, sometimes down the middle of the road, or muttering gibberish to himself.
See, nuh-uh, bro. Nigga walking down the road and muttering gibberish, nigga, eye bags and shit. Nah, bro. That nigga look like L. His ass like the twin brother of L off Death Note, bro. I'm good, bro.
It seemed like he was aware of other people on some level, but was trying to ignore them. Almost like he didn't trust they were real. Up until then, though,
Nigga schizophrenic in that
he
bitch?
seemed mostly harmless. But that went out the window when he locked his eyes onto my apartment. I closed the blinds, then sat down on the couch and went back to the TV show I was watching. Still, I had this nagging feeling. I kept trying to ignore it, but about a half an hour later, I finally peeked outside. My heart sank when I saw he was still out there, even closer than before. Starting to freak out, I called my roommate on FaceTime. When she answered, she was drunk and in bed with her guy friend.
Drunk in a bitch.
I told her what was happening, but she wasn't taking it seriously. I decided to risk it and go back onto the porch so I could flip the camera around and show her. But when I stepped out, the man was gone. My roommate said I told you so, like I was just overreacting. I didn't appreciate that, but I was relieved. I figured even a crazy person had to have gotten bored after standing in the same spot for the better part of an hour. My roommate hung up. Then I went to the kitchen to make myself some herbal tea so I could calm my nerves. The kitchen is by the front door, which is on the opposite side of the apartment from the porch. I was pouring the boiling water over the bag of tea when I heard something that almost made me jump out of my skin. The door handle was rattling.
Nigga trying to get in the door, boy. I swear to you, boy. That boy trying to get
Someone
some,
was
boy.
trying to get through the door. I rushed over to make triple sure it was locked. Then I looked outside and saw that same guy on the other side. He had a completely glazed look in his eye. Just a hollow...
Bro, I would've gotten the strap right then and there, boy. I would've gotten the strap right there, boy.
face. But it was terrifying. Almost as soon as I saw him, it was like he could sense me, because he stopped trying the handle and looked directly through the peephole back at me. It was like he was staring into my soul. Afraid for my life, I ran back from the door and called the police. I don't know what the man did right after that, but of course, by the time the cop showed up,
That nigga was slow.
gone. As I talked with the cop, he also tried to play it off, saying the man might have been drunk and confused about which apartment was his.
Nah, bro, that nigga tripping,
But
bro.
eventually figured it out. I hated that there were two people telling me I was overreacting, but I had to stay calm. The cop left, saying he'd circle the complex to see if he saw anyone suspicious, though he never came back. After a little while, I called my roommate again to update her and ask if she could come home. She didn't want to, though, so I hit up a friend of mine and begged her to sleep over. Thankfully, she agreed, but until she arrived, I was posted up on the couch.
You gotta grab a knife or some shit, turn on the lights, start playing some music.
Wide awake, with all the blinds closed and the lights turned off. It must have been 20 minutes later when I started to hear more strange noises. I couldn't tell what was making it. It was like the sound of a squirrel crawling across the screen, 10 times louder. Finally, I looked through the blinds covering the sliding door and saw my worst nightmare. The man was punching through the screen and crawling up the porch. I screamed.
Bro, if you
in
don't take
pain.
a video of that nigga, if you don't take a photo or video of that nigga, bro.
Just as he got over the wall, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a rock. I knew he was going to try and break through the glass, so I ran away out the front door and started screaming at the top of my lungs for help. I sprinted across the breezeway and raced down the steps,
She kinda thick,
hoping my
ain't?
neighbors would look outside. But then I saw my friend's car pulling up to me. I rushed into the passenger seat and told her to drive out of the complex while I called the police again. We waited across the street until we saw cops pulling into the complex and followed them. When we returned to my apartment, it turned out the man never managed to get in. There was still a gaping hole in the porch screen and a giant crack in the sliding glass door. But he gave up before smashing it and jumped back down to ground level. Exactly how he managed to scale my downstairs neighbor's porch to get up to mine is still a feat of insanity I can't comprehend. Thankfully, one of my neighbors saw him running back into another apartment, so the cops were able to finally knock on their door and arrest him. He wasn't an official resident, but he'd been staying with a relative who lived here after being kicked out of his previous place, as the man suffered severe mental health issues that had been unchecked for years.
Yeah, no
When I
shit.
pressed
The nigga out.
charges,
The nigga motherfucking talking to himself, bro.
he entered a plea deal that had him
Nah, not talking to himself. He talking to himself in the street. Talking about them. The spirits are coming. They're coming out. I can see nigga. What the hell?
sent to a mental hospital instead of a prison. I figured that's for the best, but I still have absolutely no idea what he wanted from me.
He wanted, you know what I'm saying? He said he wants some of that ad. No, I'm playing, but hey, shout out MJV Animations, man. That was a really good video. But that being said, it's your boy Jay. Stay healthy, stay wealthy, and stay blessed. And I'm out.